Welcome to Three on the Ones and Twos with your hosts, Tom, Cassie, and James. Just three old friends talking about their favorite records. Think of it as the coolest book club for music nerds.
Hey guys, what's going on? Yeah. Thank you. We are coming to you live from East Atlanta Village at one of my favorite establishments in Atlanta, the Earl. I want to thank Shane, John, and Donnie for letting us hang out here today. Absolutely. Wonderful. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. And continuing on our special episodes, we're starting to have guests.
Very special.
And this man came into my life, I think in 2005 on Independence Day from Little Rock, Arkansas. Met each other, hit it off immediately. He moved here, became best friends. Owned a magazine together, worked on several art projects over the years, and he's wonderful, and he's a producer of our show, Mr. Billy Inman. Woo! Everybody, welcome Billy.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So what we do is we ask our special guests, especially people who are part of the crew, to, well, pick their favorite record, or record they want to talk about.
Love, yeah.
So, gonna pass the mic.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, thank you. It's awesome to be here, and it's great to be a producer for the show. It's awesome because I really don't even have to produce anything.
Yeah.
But I love it. But
when you're best friends, it's easy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And when Tom told me about this project, like I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it on two conditions. One is that I don't really have to do much. I just have to hang out and drink. And two, And two, that we talk about television Marquee Moon.
Yes.
What? Yes. Oh, lovely record, and we probably could talk about it for 3 hours.
Sure.
So we're going to do our best to capture everything that we want and people want.
Yeah.
I could, by the end of this episode, you guys are gonna probably seriously want to slap me for how much I could just quit gushing about this.
Yeah.
Seriously, I have, oh my God, thank you.
Thank you, Billy. Well, thank you, Billy. And so first, though, we should give you a few minutes. Just tell us why. Why?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to know why you picked it. Well, I mean, honestly, I want to know your person, because there's so many reasons to love this. Absolutely. But I want to know what was. I mean, there's so many.
Well, it's such a timeless record. I mean, it's just incredible.
Unreal.
And B, it's kind of one of discovery. Whenever you're 13 or 14 years old and you're listening to and learning about punk rock music, this was not in my CD tower at all.
Right. Yeah.
So whenever you started the discovery process and you read about this band and you read about New York in the 70s, they were there and they were considered these pioneers. But whenever you break out this record for the first time, you listen to it, you're like, this band does not sound like the Ramones.
Hey, such a good point. And they sound like they kind of sound like effed up dreamscapes.
I mean, no. Okay, so to me, so I've obviously heard of television, and I'm sure I'm pretty sure I've heard television songs, but now after listening to it, like I said, I'm not really positive they were television songs, because you can tell how many. There are so many bands influenced by them. I might have just heard bands that were actually doing something.
Not only musically, but vocally, the voice, the delivery.
I mean, everything about it. And so I put it on, and I was sold within seconds. Within seconds, I was like, and it was this album was life changing for me. So thank you so much for picking it, because there were times that I was listening to it and I actually felt like almost. I don't know if you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, or if you saw the totality when there was the eclipse, and you take your glasses off and you see this ring. That there's things in the world that are so beautiful that you almost bring you to tears, and that's how I felt listening to this. There were times when I almost cried.
Damn, Cassie, my
arm here. It was amazing.
It was.
It's an Eclipse record for sure.
It is, and it's
24 years old.
And it's yes, you mentioned it with punk rock and the punk scene in New York, which. I grew up there, but in 77 I was 7. So sometimes I wish I was 15 in 77, but right now I feel pretty good at this age, But what a magical time to be. And you associate it with punk, it sounds nothing like any of the bands that were playing at the time. But also as I get older, my ears and my heart and my brain, I think, expands. I hear Pink Floyd. I hear all different things in it. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's what they did. They made their own thing, and it sounds like so many things.
Well, okay. So for me, it wasn't just hearing different influence or different things.
Yeah.
It was that the sound. like it filled the room and not just audibly. Like there were times, like it felt like, have you ever been to like a butterfly garden?
Yeah.
You know, where it's like really, really quiet, but there's beautiful everywhere, and like these these butterflies are like floating around. I felt like the sound was just doing this musical, like magical thing. This album, you have no idea that I was talking to Greg and I was like, you know, I might have to tell these guys like after this, like, I don't know if I can do the show anymore because I don't know that I'm going to hear music the way I didn't know that an album could make me feel the way this did.
And you think we want to slap you? We want to hug you.
But it's just because I'm not done gushing about it.
Cheers.
I have, like, tons.
Thank you again to the Earl, Guinness, Jameson, everyone across the board. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for helping. We help each other facilitate each other's dreams. Thank you, Billy.
Definitely, thank you, Billy.
Can we talk about this song, Mark?
You're keeping us on
Yes. Oh, yeah. Like, let's talk about that.
Can we talk about the song?
There's a lot of detail because that's
because I joke around because I've been a starving artist up in my whole life, and Brian BK, another producer behind the scenes, we always joke around saying when you're on the road, you go to find a cool pub, and you judge a pub by its pints and its jukebox. And if this is on the jukebox, it's a great bar, you know. But you get your money's worth if you only have $2 for the jukebox because the song, like 8 minutes into the song, you hear that drum beat. It's a drum solo, and then I almost wish they re-recorded. Go, it would be, ladies and gentlemen, television, and then he starts singing.
I mean, well, okay, so
it's like a break beat.
It's
really
beautiful.
Funny.
Well, to me, okay, so it's a 10-minute song. Like in some versions, like they actually like apparently live sometimes, like Tom Verlaine would just go off and just. And usually, I hate that stuff. Like usually, to me, it's just like after maybe 5 or 6 minutes, no matter how you know, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, it's good, okay, but seriously, come on. And this, you listen to it, and it's so beautiful. Like you really don't even notice that it's 10 minutes long.
Yeah. And it stops, and then it starts.
Yeah, it's like it's a story in itself.
Yeah. That break beat. Yeah. And also, I mean, I love art as a whole, like the whole package when it comes to like lyrics and sonic, like sounds and the music, but then the package presented, like the cover. I remember seeing this as a boy, this cover, and it looks like it would be in a museum that you would, even if you didn't know that it was a band. It's just a beautiful page, you know. Well, the whole package it gives you this dream, you know.
Let's go back to talking about Marquee Moon because the song, because so I listened to a demo version of the song from like that was the first recording of it was like from '74, and it's definitely just like it's muddy because it's a real mishmash.
Right.
And then I also listened to the Eno demo, and we talked about Eno. Eno's an innovator. He's amazing. I understand why. I heard that they didn't like it because he had all these crazy ideas, but I didn't, and I don't know if it's because I think Richard Hell played bass at that time, and then he left. But not for this album. For this album, they replaced him with
Fred Smith.
Right from was he in Blondie? Was he?
Blondie, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Learning so many things today.
But sorry.
Just a comment on the whole Eno recording is that some bands don't work with certain engineers. Like Eno works really well with certain bands, like a U2 or somebody like that.
He did with U2.
But it's interesting where he records bands that if they're so fully formed and they're such a complete package, like Television was. Also, Devo on their first record, he recorded that album, but like. There was nothing he could do in a way. Like they were such.
It was done already.
Yeah, it was sort of like all done. Like he just kind of engineered it in a way.
He kind of went. He kind of went and said, "I'm here to certainly not babysit, but just to help you glide. I can help you go through this."
Well, I mean,
the vision was there already.
Okay, so hearing the Eno demo of the song Marquee Moon and the version that's on here, and I don't think it's as much because Richard Hell was playing bass on it, and it wasn't, Fred Smith.
It's kind of a waste of his talent, I think.
Well, and they had a weird relationship. They loved each other and hated each other.
Well, yeah, but as far as the sound, I like this better, and I like it better because when you listen to the Eno version, you can actually hear the two different guitars almost dueling each other. But on this one, so you hear like Lloyd and Verlaine, and they're like kind of playing off each other, which is still beautiful.
Which you can spend an hour talking about just the guitars.
Right. Well, for sure. It's like, but on this, what I thought was really, really magical is on this one, there's times when you can't necessarily differentiate like the two different guitars. They almost meld into like one instrument that's making a sound that one instrument couldn't make.
Right.
And it's very beautiful.
That's the thing. you know, we probably use the word beautiful too much. I do. But then once in a while I go, no, I really mean it.
I felt it was really outer worldly. Like this album.
Well, your description of it just a minute ago gave me, like I said, braille and chills up the arms. So thank you for that. You know,
this album for me is very much like lightning in a bottle type album.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say something that's a little bit controversial. I think Marquee Moon, the album, is better than Television, the band.
Oh, wow.
I yeah.
And I think there's certain bands that have made albums that surpass themselves as just through some sort of circumstance. It's like perfect performance, perfect recording, and this album is definitely one of them. I mean, you think about like the Neutral Milk Hotel album is like also one of those where it's just like,
oh, great.
This album surpassed everything that band kind of was. In a
it's
way.
almost like a mic drop. Sorry guys, but you should maybe retire tomorrow because you're never gonna do.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is like, you know, when you hear this record, you want more. You want to dive into television, then you hear Adventure,
and not so much.
And it's like.
Adventure was the first album I got by them.
Really?
Because Marquee Moon was really, I got Adventure at Fantasyland Records in Buckhead when I was in high school, because I was like, oh, Television, there's, you know, I know they're a legendary band, New York band or whatever. I knew that. But Marquee Moon was not easy to find. It wasn't on, like it just wasn't at your Turtles or whatever.
Yeah.
So I found Adventure. I still have Adventure, and I listened to it and I'm like, you know, this is good, but I don't know if this is like the revolution.
No, it's not. And you hear it, you listen to it after this, it's but like, then you know, the first song, like Glory, it's kind of like, okay, I can hear the guitars, I can hear this happening.
Okay.
But it's like, at the end of it, you're like, man, did I just listen to like an Eddie Rabbit song? It's like, it's just kind of.
I mean,
the thing is, I mean, because I write and I try to write every day, and some days I like what I write, and some days I can't stand what I write. And listen, luck is very real. Like my friend Marlo always says, he's like, you know, you can't be great forever. So I mean, if you put out 2 or 3 records, holy crap, you're doing really well.
I mean, they were obviously amazing musicians, but thank you for answering a question that I was going to have, which is I did want more, and it made me want to ask about not only Adventure, but also about Tom relates like his solo stuff, and so
there's element. Obviously, there's like glimpses into the genius.
Yeah,
but
and I like his solo stuff, but
it's not like this.
This is a Scorsese movie. This is Time Bandits. You know what I mean? You know, this is
this movie could win an Oscar.
Yeah.
But it makes you kind of frustrated with certain bands like that, where if you have especially if you start at the pinnacle, it's like everything sort of is downhill from there, and you're like, you just can't get that same feeling again as listening to Marquee Moon for the first time. Yeah. It's the same thing with like also a band like Slint. Slint Spiderland is like also a perfect album, like similar. It's like the post-punk Marquee Moon in a way.
Wow.
But there's also another band that like you try to chase that magic again, and it's just we may
have to visit that record in another episode.
Or Big Star, like the first Big Star record.
That's a good one.
It's like also an album that could be better than the band in a way.
Sure.
You know,
I never thought of it.
It's blasphemous.
And you say that's controversial, but we're all great friends. And listen, anyone that's upset about that, sorry, you don't get it. But I actually agree with that.
But do you also think that maybe it wasn't partly like contributing that? I mean, he's difficult, right? Okay, reading some of the things when they first signed to like Elektra, Lloyd was saying that he found out years later that Tom Verlaine was like behind all their back, like pitching to Elektra to have him the only one signed as Television, and everybody else just hired musicians. And it's like, I mean, you see how there was just like so much, and that had to be so.
Bands are tough, man.
It probably after like a certain point, like for Adventure and stuff, like just got so. Well, bands are tough, but like.
I mean, listen, beautiful and selfish. It happens.
And genius.
Yeah. Well, they were also one of the last of that sort of that moment in time in New York to get signed, right?
Yeah, but I look at like. I was thinking about that too, about the scene coming out of CBGB's, and when you think about I mean, there are a lot of bands that came out of that. they're in that first tier, right?
It was them, Talking Heads, and the Ramones, basically.
No,
Well,
no,
Brian
I think
Did
no.
was
From
in
what I
there,
read,
but-
they actually like set up
Well,
the
the first
stage
two-
at CBGB's, and
Did not know
they didn't
that.
want at the time like they didn't really have like bands, and they like pitched it because they needed it on the Sunday nights, which
Right.
was the dead night.
Very, very
and that was
early
before
on,
it was like
yeah.
Which is
74.
wonderful.
It was
The only
before,
rule was you can't play covers. Like, just
Right.
do you be original, which is wonderful.
but
But the point I was making is that like out of CBG, so the Ramones are its own world. It's sort of like the Stooges. You have
Yeah,
to just
very
like put
much.
them
Sure.
aside. Like you can't compare them to any other band.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at like Blondie, Television,
Talking Heads.
Talking Heads,
Mm-hmm.
Television's the one that came out sort of most fully formed on their first record. It's like
Yeah.
this is like
Fully realized.
well,
Yeah.
they
They
wrote
hit
all
the
these in
peak.
'74 though, right? They had like 3 years really to kind of.
Yeah, and you can say the same thing with the band like the Cars, who had their songs forever.
Right.
And they made
They
a
were playing.
perfect
They were
first
playing them
album.
live for 4 years, and then they became
Yeah,
huge.
and so but you think about Blondie or Talking Heads. I mean, I still say they were still sort of on the rise. Like their peak sort of happened a few albums into like
Yeah.
whatever you think is your favorite Talking Heads album, or whatever you think your favorite Blondie record. Mine is Eat to the Beat, but
Yeah, that's a great record.
But I think like with Television, it's like.
They came out.
Putting
They
those-
came out.
playing
They
those
were like
songs in a
horses.
small
Horses
bar.
at the
It's
gates,
just
and
like-
just came out.
Well,
like, hitting,
Richard Lloyd says that because they had the songs for 3 years and they really perfected them, like they knew them.
So
But
sculpted.
then when they went to
Yeah.
Adventure, it's like they didn't really have material, and they went in and tried to write it, and it just didn't.
They couldn't put the
I
time
think that's
in,
part
and-
of.
And it's kind of like a Verlaine solo album
and that's
almost
happened
at
for
that point,
years.
too.
I mean,
Right.
like people talk about, especially, well, I mean, I don't even really understand half of it, but like people talk about like sophomore slumps with second records and stuff, and the high expectations. Like you come out doing this,
I know.
Yeah.
you're almost set up for disaster.
There's no.
you almost set
you
up
may as
for
well just
Well,
end the band at that
right,
point.
right.
Just be like,
It's
"Let's do
disappointing-
something else."
I'm sorry.
No.
Well, Adventure came out in '78, right? So I mean, it was like a super fast turnaround.
Yeah.
They're under pressure.
So yeah, I mean, they had to be under pressure. So there's that
Yeah.
element of it too.
Because did you? What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
That was.
Well, I was like, there's no real like lead and rhythm guitar. Like they're both apparently. So for the solos, like Verlaine couldn't like sing and do the solos, so they trade off actually who did the solos and who like kind of took the lead and who did the rhythm, which I think is fascinating. That it's like
It is.
Double lead.
A lot of
It's been a couple minutes. It's been a couple minutes to talk about the actual music,
Right.
songs.
yes.
Because what songs are the ones that reached out to you the most when you first bought this record as a boy in Little Rock, Arkansas?
Sure. I mean,
Confused
again,
punk rock Billy,
Well, that's it.
future legend and writer.
You hear like "See No Evil" and it's kind of like, okay, I got
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
this is it. But then it jumps into Venus and it's like
Okay,
a completely different vibe, And it's but that song
Changes
is
gears pretty hard.
really hard. But I mean, again,
still
like Venus is such
equally
a,
amazing.
Yeah,
Right.
there's like the call and response thing, and it's like such a like the harmonies are perfect. It's a beautiful song.
And me being certainly a fan of rough vocals and soulful vocals, it's a strange voice, but it's a beautiful voice that works just
Yeah.
for that. And it would
Yeah.
not work for any other group. You know what I mean? That's what got me the most. Besides the guitars, how beautiful they are. It's the delivery and the vocals.
Venus, I'd say, is my favorite.
I would say too.
I think
Yeah.
it's like
Perfect
there's
second
such
song,
a like
you know?
relaxed vibe that comes into it that I really like because it I mean obviously See No Evil just kicks off, but then Venus brings this sort of like it really makes me feel it's like a good feeling song that just is almost like nostalgic in a way.
Did you feel low?
I did feel low. I felt very low, but also
I
would
need
say
to say, what's Sisba?
Do we need more Guinness? Do we need
Well, we're
more
going to
Guinness?
keep winding down and going to 11
I
soon
know, I
because
know,
it's
okay.
so much fun. So
All right,
that's what I was
but-
going to say. Anything else with songs
But
that you want to talk about, please?
I do. Well, I
wanna
mean, I
hear
want to talk
this.
about. Well, I mean, I could talk about all of them, but I mean, obviously, if I couldn't really pick a favorite because I love them all, and I think they all belong in this. I mean, it feels like a complete like a complete package, and it really does all go together. But I would say "See No Evil." I think that's a perfect song to start with because I think it's probably the most kind of commercial or accessible.
Almost sellable for them. Although I doubt they were on the radio.
But then no. But I mean, like it relates a little bit more to like some of the other stuff, you know.
No, I'm sure it was a very conscious decision to start.
And exactly. This, I mean, and that
it was the most
all
accessible, and then accessible.
But then you go to like "Torn Curtain," and "Torn Curtain" is the perfect closing song for this album. I mean, it's just like such a beautiful story. I mean, it is. This one really is like a movie to me. It's like from start to finish. It just takes you on like
you can see colors.
Journey.
You close your eyes, you see colors, and you see
and like feel things. So I would have to say "See No Evil," just because when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's just starting, and that first time you notice that you have like really strong feelings for the person, it's like, yeah, things might get better and your feelings might get stronger, but that is like one of your most cherished moments. Like you always remember that, and I think that "See No Evil" I think is always going to have a special place in my heart.
Well, I've never been in a relationship, but I can't wait and to feel that.
Are we gonna do the shot? Are we gonna do the shot?
Yes, we can.
No.
Yes, we should. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Much love and respect. Again, John and Donnie and Shane Pringle and our loved ones, our family, the Earl, B. Kinch, Matt, D, thank you for your help.
I mean, it's good. It's not.
Listen, life is beautiful if you let it. We got this letter. Oh my goodness. It's actually funny because I'm a huge fan of segues. And what is that? Where one thing is beautiful leads into another. And James.
Another thing you
well, I got a DUI in a segue once. No, I'm totally kidding. But James was mentioning Nutrimilk Hotel earlier, and I almost jumped into this letter because once in a while when I get the letters, I got to be honest with you, I read them before I show you guys. But when he mentioned Nutrimilk Hotel, I was like, oh my goodness. But he was 10 minutes too early. And that just shows you, the whole idea of the show is for you to be a fly on the wall and hang out with us friends, best friends, who love art and music and community and family.
And hopefully learn something
And
about
there are
them.
no edits. So sorry if Cassie burped twice, by the way. No, so sorry if the things that aren't perfect, but my favorite things, like my favorite singers are Otis Redding and Marvin Gaye, and it's not when they sing perfect. I like when they're sweating and out of their minds, and Marvin Gaye's been up for 5 days, and he almost goes out of tune, his voice cracks, you know. So just think of us as one big Marvin Gaye. This letter, holy cow.
I feel like a big Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, let's get on. Says Bob, everybody, how you doing? This is really cool. This is really cool. But I also believe, I love when things ping back and forth, and the earth, the things we manifest, does happen. So as James said this, Cassie gave me 3 or 4 times the braille arm hairs going up with things you said about the record.
Billy gave them to me when he picked this record.
James gave it to me, so we're giving each other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
This is from Nancy Whiskey. What? Nancy Whiskey from Chicago. Big shout out.
Love Chicago.
I know you're all from all parts of the globe, but because of this current situation, you're in Atlanta. So my question to you is, who is your favorite Atlanta band? And I love that, and that's why I was saying when you mentioned Nutrimilk Hotel, I actually have a band that I can pick, but I'm gonna pass it. And Billy moved here 2006, 2005. So also the best thing about life and the show is, listen, the best thing about this show and life is there's no wrong answer.
There's no wrong answers, but it is a hard question because you were friends with a lot of bands and like local, so it's like, I mean,
you can say West End Motel if you want.
I'm not gonna say
that.
Oh shoot! Oh man!
Putting you on the spot. Putting you on the spot.
Well, I think the band I've actually like seen the most play was Prowling Wolves.
Prowling Wolves. Okay,
I'm gonna say that.
Thank you. Clash ripoff band, but they're pretty cool. What would you say?
I mean, I don't know. They don't have a name yet.
Oh yes. Oh, best. Okay, that Better Sons.
I don't know. They won't tell.
Family problems.
So what are you guys going to?
I'm not happy. Where's my mom?
That's good though.
Okay, so James.
Oh, by the way, Brian's doing sound. Brian has to say
the guy who knows more about music than I can ever know, and I think I know a decent amount. What would you say?
I'm just saying that naming a band is the hardest thing, especially in the modern era, in the internet age. Is one of the most difficult.
I mean, especially
who would
since
your favorite Atlanta band?
Yeah, but just saying something also about naming bands, it's like, I mean, I think you guys are also like so good that it's like, and a lot of people are telling you you're good. So it's kind of like you want to pick a name that kind of lives up to that. So it's
Okay, so we need to include you guys on your couches in this. BK, who's a cameraman, a producer, one of my best friends, and James Joyce have a new band. They currently are the best band in Atlanta, but they don't have a name yet. But to answer Nancy Whiskey, we do not want to...
And Greg, my husband.
And Greg Tay, who's a producer as well, I'm sorry. We don't want to upset our fans. Nancy asked a question, and you didn't really answer it.
I don't, because they haven't picked a name.
No, who is your favorite Atlanta band?
I'll tell you what my favorite Atlanta song is Money Changes Everything.
Beautiful.
By the Brains.
Brains. And by the way, you know, I know Cyndi Lauper. Beautiful human, voice. I don't know that show. I'll tell you a few stories about Cyndi Lauper. I'm going to say a band called The Roys, who were a three-piece dub band that came out in the early 80s. I know they opened up for the Police at the Omni in like 84. My friend Lynn Atwell, rest in peace, who I used to drink with here from Wales, turned me on to them. They were signed to Stiff Records, one of my favorite record labels, and they basically sounded like the Police meets King Tubby.
I've never heard of them.
3 white guys from Atlanta.
I've never heard of them.
I played you some of their 70s.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
How does that work?
well, I can't wait to share this stuff with you, because that's the other thing we like doing on the show, is turning people on to love and light in music. And I'm looking at my phone because I am a professional. We have 80 seconds.
Small reactions right now.
Small reactions are amazing.
Also a great band, yes.
Sean Zierfoss, who works the door
long
here.
term. I mean, those guys have done it. I can
Do you want me to like pick a band?
Yes.
Like just off the, I mean, you know, okay, so back in the day, I loved Manor Man.
Beautiful band, but they're from Alabama.
Are they?
Yep.
I thought they lived here.
So.
Yeah, but
Rob Del Bueno.
okay, Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, he lived upstairs.
Okay, you know what? I really like Fiend Without a Face.
My favorite Atlanta band. Behinds, Stiff Penalty, Troy King. We need to go because we have another friend coming in. Again, to the Earl, East Atlanta Village, the Atlanta community. D, Matt, B. Kinch, Greg Pate, Steve Stussy. My name is Tom Cheshire, halfway decent human. James Joyce, Cassie, just one name. Billy Inman, producer. Holy cow, television, Marquee Moon.
Holy
Thank you
cow.
so much.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Guinness,
Cheers.
Jameson. Listen, life can be awesome if you let it. Cheers, everybody. Thank you.